Hello, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Again, let's just get right down to it. You are invulnerable, period. The end. Mic drop. That's really all that we need to say. Yet, because we need to expound on things in this world, because of our marked tendency to reject the simplicity of truth, we require further explanation, and that's perfectly understandable. After all, we've been conditioned to think that life is a complicated mess. So we go forth to seek a complicated mess, and lo and behold, what does our experience present us with but a complicated mess? A spinning ball of rock where warfare is rampant at all times, whether it's happening in your backyard or not, it's happening in our mind. Mind is one, it's singular, and it's happening in our mind. You don't have to be in or near a zone of armed conflict where it plays itself out to the extreme. What's going on is we think that we're separate from God. Therefore, we look upon everything that seems to be here in the world, everything that appears, and we think it's separate from us. We think this is us, and everything else is outside of us, and of course, is out to get us. So, believing that our brother is going to attack us, we lash out first. We engage ourselves in preemptive strikes, in defensive posturing, certain that we'll be attacked. Now, sometimes, especially as in the case of armed conflict or even a verbal attack, sometimes the brother does attack. But what's going on in our own mind is what we need to pay attention to, and that is what A Course in Miracles focuses on. A Course in Mind Training. This is a course in mind training. I would go so far as to state that all of spirituality, regardless of the tradition, is a course in mind training, whether it states so or not. In fact, it could disavow mind completely and still be a course in mind training. So, welcome. We are invited to pay attention to our mind. This is where the attack takes place. Think of how often, how utterly frequently it's on the daily. Every day, we're engaged in thoughts about what might happen. Our brother might attack us. Our boss might say something to us. He or she may say something to us. At the sales meeting this afternoon, we better have an answer ready. What is that but a defensive posture about something that does not exist because the future does not exist? We think that the future is going to be just like the past because maybe our boss has said something underwhelming and nasty at the sales meeting, or our ex has said something to us that was underwhelming and nasty. I don't know. We think that the future is going to be exactly like the past. So, what we do here is we skip the present moment entirely. We dwell on the past, which of course isn't here either. We would readily accept this in the abstract. It's easy to listen to a talking pixelated image on your screen tell you that the past is gone. Yeah, of course it's gone. It's not here. Neither is the future, but we don't live our lives as though that's true. So we need to hear these ideas over and over again, if need be, until we begin to accept that the present moment is what we have to work with. What is here now is not what meets the eye. It is not what meets the body's eyes. That's not reality. Maybe you're hearing this for the first time, or maybe you're hearing it for the 5,000th time. I don't know. Deep down, we all know this, and this may be one of these ideas that you personally need to hear repeated over and over and over again for it to begin to take root in your mind. So be it. You are not a body. You know this. We, of course, take, or shall we say, mistake, the human body to be us. It's not us. We are eternal. This is certainly not eternal, is it? It doesn't even look the same from one day to the next. You could have had a great hair day yesterday, and this morning it looks a hot mess. Our cells are not the same as yesterday's cells because they constantly slough off and die and are regenerated. That is, until they're not regenerated anymore. Nothing in this world lasts. It's all impermanent and changes. And it does so constantly. And here we are looking for happiness. Here we are looking for the peace of God in a world of illusions, and in fact, in a world that is itself an illusion. The answer comes from outside this world. It's not of this world. Happily, for all of us, the answer is in our mind. Remember, this is a course in mind training. This answer, and you might rightly write this with a capital A, answer, is our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, or call it whatever you want to call it. It's this part of our mind that sees through all of the drama and the smokescreen and the veneer, all the BS, if you want to call it that, because it is, really, that sees through all of the illusions and will show us how to set them all aside if only we'll let it do it. If only we'll let him. Yeah. So when we learn here on the path, practicing this course, especially when we learn to relax and trust the guidance of our inner teacher, we're not giving away power and control to an outside force. There is no outside force. So along the way, we have some simple lessons that are presented to us here in A Course in Miracles over and over again in different passages of the text in the workbook, the manual, the supplements, different places, in different words. The essence, the core of it is exactly the same. So these ideas are the ones that we need to hear the most. So let's hear some of them here today, because clearly you're watching for a reason. What that may be, I don't know. But when something lands for you, trust that it is your inner teacher speaking to you directly. Remember, your inner teacher is part of our mind. It doesn't need an intermediary to speak to you. It simply needs you to drop your defenses and accept its guidance. Therein we find so much of the supposed challenge, don't we? So, some specific ideas today to help us along the way. To give and to receive are one in truth. Another way you could look at this is the way it's presented in chapter 14, section 3 of the text. The cost of giving is receiving. Hmm. Interesting. What does this mean? This is how we keep something, to give it away. Here in the world, we try to get rid of our guilt. We try to get rid of our fear and our sense of vulnerability and fallibility by putting it off on someone else. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's my ex's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the opposition political party's fault. It's global warming's fault. It's the weather's fault. It's someone else's fault. It's outside of us, not us. We certainly couldn't have brought all of this pain and suffering upon ourselves. Could we have? No, no, it's out there. That's projection. But it's not out there. It's in here. So by attempting to get this out, we've kept it in our mind. Now, the same principle applies for our extending love. When we accept what the Course refers to as atonement for ourselves, the essence of which is the acknowledgement, the acceptance that the separation never occurred. When we accept this, we naturally wish to and naturally do, under the guidance of our inner teacher, extend love. We forgive the Son of God. We show him his invulnerability. To give and to receive are one in truth. We keep it in our mind. We keep something in our mind by giving it away. So, what are you giving? Fear or love? That is what you keep in your mind. Of course, here in the world, when we give something away, a physical object, say like a $20 bill or something, then we don't have that. And that's the way we're taught to see things in the world, is by giving something you lose. But you don't lose. This course is not concerned with physical objects. It's concerned with mind. How do you keep something in your mind? You give it away. You're not really giving it away in the sense that we commonly see it in the world, because you're giving it to yourself. It stays in the mind. There is only perfect oneness. Your brother is you. He's not related to you or similar to you. That implies, no matter how small, a degree of separation. There is no separation. None. Your brother is you. What you give, you keep in your mind. You extend it, or you throw it away in a projected fit of rage and blame and fear. But you keep it in your mind. So we can rightly say that the cost of giving is receiving. So what would you receive? Love or fear? Okay, then give that. This section of the text, chapter 14, section 3, shares with us the happy lesson of the Holy Spirit, and that is that darkness has no power over the Son of God. None. You are invulnerable. Remember, we just spent a couple of minutes talking about the fact that you're not a body. This, of course, is highly vulnerable. It's fallible. It can be maimed, butchered, and killed. It can be chopped into little pieces. I mean, it's not the most pleasant thought in the world, but that thought crosses our mind all the time when we see bloodshed and conflict, armed conflict, doesn't it? This is not who we are. Who you are is eternal. It's invulnerable. Who you really are, cannot be harmed. So how do you recognize this? By sharing it, by giving it away, by giving the Holy Spirit away to your brother, by loving him, her, them, it, by loving, give it away. You do receive it. You share the love of the Holy Spirit with everyone. Make manifest your belief, your certainty that you cannot be harmed, and your brother will see that. Your own sharing, your extension of love, will show your brother that he's guiltless, and so are you. The separation never occurred. This is what we're invited to accept for ourselves. It's known as atonement here in A Course in Miracles. It's capitalized with a capital A. And what this means is this is the correction of our inner teacher. In other words, from our inner teacher. It's our allowing the Holy Spirit to correct our perception. We see things backwards. We see separation. There is no separation. This is a course in turning that perception right side up. We accept the guidance, the correction of our inner teacher. Central to this is the acknowledgement, our acceptance that the separation never occurred. And deep down, we all do know this. Now, you can choose to deny this all that you want. You can listen to this and think, yeah, BS. This thing is wrong. This course, nah, not having it. Oh, no problem. Don't have it then. It's your choice. We all appear to be here because we've denied truth far too long. Done with that? Only you can truly answer that question for yourself. So we accept atonement. Because the separation never occurred, in truth, there's really nothing to forgive. There has never been any separation. There's no separate other out there. So why do we need forgiveness as part of this? Well, we don't believe that we're all one. We see multiplicity. We have painful, less than joyous experiences, and all of those are opportunities for forgiveness. So our practice of true forgiveness, while we appear to be here as this thing, is how we learn that there is no separation of any kind. One act of forgiveness at a time. That is the practical centerpiece of A Course in Miracles. In our practice of true forgiveness, we look beyond the veneer. We look beyond the surface of what someone appears to have done or that we ourselves appear to have done and forgive it. It never took place, remember. The separation never occurred. So we allow ourselves day to day to be led by our inner teacher as far along the path as we're willing to be led. And then tomorrow we do the same thing. The reason that this is worth mentioning is that it requires our willingness. We're not simply going to be able to just sit here and judge, 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 hate, 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 and blame, 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 and have a magic wand waved for us and be instantly enlightened. We've got to do the work ourselves. That turns off a lot of people to this course. Not a problem. Does it turn you off? That's the question. People will do what they will, but you're here. So there's something holding you to this video. So it's certainly not me. It's your inner teacher. So there's a message here for each and every one of us. There's a message here for you. You'll know what it is, and you would, of course, recognizing that, do well to pay attention to it, but only you can pay attention to it. We supply the willingness to forgive. So it could be today that you don't find yourself in a place to be able to forgive someone who's genuinely harmed you. And quite naturally, there are many forms of abuse here in the world. So if you don't feel at this moment that you can go there, that's fine. Start with what you can do. Forgive a passing cloud for blotting out the sun. I mean, if that's what you can do today, do that. Do that. We allow ourselves to be led as far as we're willing to go today. Anything that crosses our mind that is not wholly joyous is an opportunity for forgiveness. Any experience we have where we're not wholly 100% totally joyous is an opportunity to forgive. A central part of this is recognizing that the separation never took place. God is the only cause. He's the creator, the only reality, and the causeless, the separate ego self, cannot be. Guilt, having no cause, cannot be. And darkness has no power to overwhelm, nor to defeat or harm the Son of God in any way. You are invulnerable. So, whether that resonates or not, I don't really know. I mean, I hope that it does, but who's to say, right? These ideas, quite naturally, are not of this world. In this world, we're highly vulnerable to attack, to disease, to predation, right? Even if it's not from a ravenous wild beast, it could be from the mortgage company. I don't know. The solution is not of this world. Truth is not of this world either. There is no world. Perhaps you've heard that before. Now, if you've watched videos here on this channel, you most certainly have. So this course is a little different, isn't it? Welcome. For those of you who have not yet subscribed and joined us, I invite you to do just that. I do. I invite you to subscribe. This is the prompt here in the corner of your screen. It's that arrow. Click on that and join us here. There are several videos that appear each week. And honestly, While we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, which is, of course, sequential, I never know what's going to come out of what appears to be my mouth on a given video. I don't know. So I invite you to stay tuned because when something lands for you, it is your inner teacher speaking to you. It speaks to us in many different ways. It could be in words that we hear from a talking pixelated image on our screen. It could be from something that we read in a book or on a billboard or see on another social media channel. It could be just a deep inner knowing, an intuitive hit that, oh yeah, it could be something that we see in the world outside that reminds us of who we are. There are many ways that our inner teacher communicates with us. It doesn't have to be in a verbal form in a language that you understand. This video series, which is being broadcast from this idea that we refer to as North America, specifically the United States, and even further specifically Arizona, what's going on here is that when something lands, it is your inner teacher speaking to you. It's very important to know that there are many ways that the Holy Spirit communicates with us. How he communicates will look differently for you than it will for me or your neighbor or your spouse or anyone else. What will remain the same is the message. God's Son is guiltless and invulnerable. All right. To the extent that questions are coming up for you, that is a natural part of the path. Please feel welcome to leave them here on this channel, and I will happily answer them. My purpose here is to, I hope, inspire you to practice and to embark on further study of this course, which is self-study. It's a self-study curriculum. So if you have questions, please feel welcome to leave them here, and I will talk to all of you very soon.